pumped up a little bit before my talk. I don't know. That's really what it is. So thank you guys all for coming tonight. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Costa Rica for spring break. Yeah, Costa Rica. One day, we horseback rode up to a waterfall. And so I climbed up a waterfall and leapt off. And when I mean climbed up, I mean climbed through a waterfall. Water was streaming on me. I couldn't find my step. This guy was like, come on. I didn't know. I got to the top, and I leapt off. So what if I told you that back in high school, I was too scared to walk home alone in a thunderstorm? Would you believe me? I mean, I wouldn't believe me. A couple years ago, I was scared. I was a scared girl who wasn't experiencing life. I was scared to go on roller coasters. I was scared of airplanes, and don't even talk to me about going more than knee deep in the ocean. Jellyfish are super dangerous, if you didn't know. I worried about everything, and in turn, I worried that I wasn't good enough. I was considered intelligent, so I had expectation after expectation thrust upon me. I aimed for the highest grades. I was in the most clubs. I did whatever I was told would get me ahead. I worked at a pharmaceutical company because I would get a good science research project. I chose engineering as a major because that's what the smart kids did. Being chronically stressed meant that I was succeeding. Mentally breaking from stress meant I was excelling. So when I got to college, I got hit hard, really hard. I was used to doing the most and being the best. Now I was in a place where kids were doing more and being better. I wasn't the smartest. I was simply average. I tried going back to what I knew. I started working in a research lab on campus, and I realized that even though I was going back to my roots, I was bored. I realized that all my life I had just been doing what was expected of me. Every action was dictated by someone who knew better. I was doing exactly what was expected of me, yet I was more unsure than I had ever been in my life. I decided I needed to make a change. I didn't know what, I just needed to do it. So I registered for this class called Innovation with an exclamation point at the end. Any course title with an exclamation point obviously caught my eye. It was all about design thinking and product innovation. So in this class, I wasn't doing research. I was solving people's problems. I learned that I could gain empathy into a customer and then develop products for them. I could solve their problems by learning who they were. Now, by learning who they were, I could develop solutions for them that they could have never dreamed of. I was an inventor. I was an innovator. By the end of that class, I knew I had caught the entrepreneurship bug. At the end of freshman year, I changed my major to mechanical engineering and took up a minor in entrepreneurship so I could develop products for people to solve their problems. So about 6 months in, I got my first startup idea, Nightly, a safety device for college students. I realized that me and my friends were making dumb decisions on the weekends, fueled by alcohol, and I thought I was invincible, that nothing could happen. And the fact of the matter is that I'm not. So I wanted to empower students to take control of their own safety. So that's when I took the big dive into the entrepreneurship world at Northeastern. I became an idea venture. I started teaching design thinking workshops at the Sherman Center, and I started becoming friends with the big name student entrepreneurs on campus. It was really exciting. People started knowing my name, people started knowing what Nightly was, and I started growing as a vine in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So with Nightly, I had validated my idea with customers, I had analyzed potential competitors, and I had developed a concept with a unique value proposition. Now all I needed to do was create the product. Seems really simple, right? So it was that moment when I realized that I was in the same exact place I was freshman year. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Make a PCB, develop a business model, determine my customer acquisition costs. What do you mean how much it costs to acquire a customer? They pay me for this. It didn't make any sense to me. I was being asked seemingly simple questions, yet I didn't know the answers. I was in this part where I was thought that I was doing the most and being the best, and yet everyone around me knew what to do, and they were doing more and being better. I asked myself, can I be an entrepreneur? Can I do this? Am I able to do this? Can I actually succeed? It was that moment when the self-doubt came and tried to cripple me as it had done so many times before. But instead of letting it, I had this force, I had this feeling inside of me. It came from the depths of my gut and the back of my head. It met in my brain, and it was fighting back against that self-doubt. I realized I had this feeling every single time I worked on Nightly, every single time I was in an entrepreneurship class, every single time I talked to a fellow entrepreneur. I realized that it was my inspiration. That inspiration that I only had from traveling or reading about things bigger than me, it was there. I was inspired by the choices I was making. I realized that I was finally doing what I wanted to do, not what was expected of me. I've learned to use my self-doubt to feed my motivation and my determination. I was not knowing what to do became acceptable, even exciting. I was in a position where I was learning by doing. Every decision made, pitch spoken, mistake avoided or made, was unexplored territory, landmarks on the road less traveled. Now I'm surrounded by people who understand my journey. We don't share a particular major or a certain field of study. We share this mindset. We share the drive for becoming the best version of ourselves. We inspire each other with our drive, our enthusiasm, the pursuits of our passion. Entrepreneurship to us is not a professional discipline. It's the mindset that it's not necessary to live conventionally or to follow a conventional path. It's only necessary that we follow our dreams instead of someone else's. So maybe I don't get the best grades, and I definitely don't know all the answers. I totally accept that. But only I have my vision, and only I have my passion. That's where entrepreneurship separates itself from the different disciplines. Entrepreneurship is not about how smart you are or how much you study. It's about how passionate you are about your ideas and how determined you are to make your dreams and your vision come true. So now I jump off cliffs, I go on roller coasters, and I'm in the ocean whenever possible. I am leading an unconventional life, yet I'm not worried. I'm constantly looking for that next taste of adventure. I'm constantly looking for that next source of inspiration. I am a far cry from the worry word I was back in high school, yet I am the same. The only difference is that now I accept my vulnerability as a challenge instead of a flaw. So I urge all of you to forge your own path and use your inspiration instead of expectations to pave it. What you should do, keep that inspiration in your life daily. Read, travel, write. Keep inspiration as your mission so you can get it swirling and pulsing around in your head every day. Get that inspiration, bottle it up, and spray it on you every day, because if you keep inspiration as your mission and you do what inspires you, there's no reason to worry, and there's no doubt that you will find happiness. Allow your inspiration to empower you to dare greater than you have ever dared before. Thank you.